Iran, Iran. The topicality, the lander card, states, and the dissent.
The last time it was
it was the quarter card, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. You were a little better this time than before that.
Thank you. Yeah. Second time's a charm. Okay. Trade, Iran, topicality, card, states, politics. Too many contentions on the trade policy that the U.S. relations is the only way to solve for the topicality evidence, specifically to the question that the United States, regardless of whether or not they like it, the United States is the reader, and other countries will lose to us. Now, the inside-U.S. trade and evidence 13 says that other countries about to bring suits against us in the European, which will collapse. The WTO agreement countries will stop trade with the other day, say that regional trade agreements fill, but regional trade agreements actually short, global free trade, lead protection is so slum, and in 13 call for trade like free trade agreement are actually preferred to the agreement, fair protection, don't apply to all countries, right, but reduce trade barriers on a multilateral basis, non-discriminatory by discriminatory trading, so the moment prefer actual trade agreements with the carefully decided about sources and sort of now a ruling effective laughing by lateral agreements with the part of the spaghetti bowls, which the agreements are critical best of restrictions and instructions the best reason to oppose rapid in a world of regional free trade. This is not a global free trade system because you have regional trading blocks which all trade with each other, So go to war if you had a Middle East trading bloc, it would still be in contact with the EU and the Southeast Asia trading bloc because they have ethnic and regional and global tensions. That there's a global tension there historically. There have still would not have the economic disincentive to attack them. Also, the manufacturing scenario is completely conceded that in a world of protectionism and resource nationalism, regional nationalism, that collapse is manufacturing which no longer have the raw inputs necessary to be able to solve for the U.S. economy's manufacturing. So the 12% of the economy leads to extinction. That's the ultimate law, and denied, and it's conceded on the trade floor. Now and also they can see that the U.S. trade leadership is to solve for protectionism independently for resource nationalism because other countries, if they see the U.S. isn't trading with them, they have no incentive to trade with the U.S. or no incentive to trade with the U.S. So the regional trade agreement does not solve for that question. Now the Bergen ecosystem advantage one. This is in the context of this just says that the WTO would oppose restrictions on environmental projects, but the inside U.S. trade evidence says that that there are exemptions in the GATT Article 20 of the WTO that allows them to employ protectionist policy specifically in the case of environmental impact and no impact marine ecosystems. So you know since plastic Kennedy to reading as a resilient biological components related to political factors aligned to the British responsibility the ecologically adaptable exemption and variability which allow for adaptation in humans in the environmental adaptable germs in 2000. Although the other thing exemption the completing accumulation of the other people knows is human extinction probable homo sapiens adaptability to the environmental species and function performance multiple species the reduced activities of high proportion of species can loss of them first thing class. Now the bioterrorism advantage one is solved by the case because in their economic interdependence means that terrorists do not want to collapse their own country's economy by going to war with each other and know if they know risk of bioterror attack there won't be retaliation after the time to stop and kid and the U.S. not likely to use nuclear force respond to biological weapons. The notion that we are in danger of dying biological weapons pencil scenarios in which the U.S. suffers mass casualties we think the discussion out of the realm of reality there are lots of their amounts with in fact the events about technology would be unlikely to no terrorists would be capable of holding up a massive biological attack. There are a number of reasons why the United States is not like the use of nuclear weapons. The U.S. leaders cover them broken targets and weather blocks and solves death toll laggard and ideal condition for attacks element ever except the possibility things going on to live fairly later now down in there is a territory from biological for the whole to the element of survival also even for the successful attack and there would that and there's no bioterrorist attacks low concentration arms control center 10 bioterrorist has been greatly exaggerated the offense of use there is biological major technical weapons of making biological anywhere which leaves unrealistic obvious critical weapons they also multiple never so many other suggestions rate distribution results of the outcomes and unlikely results. Now the Iranian advantage goes functionally because just as no proliferation one this evidence from 2003 the latest developments and Iran is a much more closer argument that specifically but they could have reached a critical point they could have reached a critical that's by the middle of 2014 which means they're on the verge of developing a nuclear weapon. Now these sanctions the status quo sanctions are the status quo sanctions failed. This is not solved for by the disadvantage because it is not solved because Iran only exporting LNG is able to reduce Iran's profits in the region and push them out of the LNG markets so they no longer have power influence over others over U.S. trading partners because the U.S. trading partners are unwilling to acquiesce to the sanctions right now because they require to depend on Iran for the U.S. LNG this leads to extinction. This was completely conceded that it undermines our political leverage that land proliferation leads to nuclear war and terrorism is the reason even if they are not able to get the bomb the fact that they're going for the bomb is going to destabilize the reason still lead to Israel strikes that leads to extinction development. Counter-interpretation in ocean development is using ocean research, using ocean energy, using which includes shipping as Jin 98. What is ocean development? The ocean development stops around the utilization of ocean energy. The shipping is and then port harbor covered using ocean shipping. All these associated with what's present in the view of the associated exporting LNG, exclusively ocean shipping deal with supporting liquefaction, natural gas, extraneous, internal, natural gas, LNG, designated ocean tankers facility for hard export terminals, contextual of this first LNG or ocean development take times before the ocean public trust initiative says she's president of what happened in the upper of the ocean development, all the all types of ocean essentially find natural gas and prefer our interpretation contextual evidence standard for your particular we don't disclose limits you need reasonable since you need evidence article to show limit of like their church indicates only resource affluence core acts like second aquaculture, no ground loss spearheaded massive international trade that can only occur over the ocean links and development against development against which coordinated ground side of military state international action military corporate governments also yes particular plenty of Toronto spruce have the oceans plural varying from 14 plural ocean one of the part light areas and so what the development needs to occur in multiple oceans you have to have a water interpretation rise limit on potential cases we need it's only 5% on military exploration not a moment it's therefore before the end or means the added of and counter-interpretation is associated with oxidation air so it's something previously mentioned because that's not about ocean garment authority and 11% of the things the garment doesn't generate nothing to do with ownership of that are inherently now USFG is necessary to export LNG and permanent base to projects federal LNG legal definitions occur that's telling 97 on federal projects federal action cannot be given the federal agency the agency has the authority to exercise the discretion of the outcome of ocean trade is ocean Congress has sole authority to regulate foreign commerce that's banned into ocean Congress has other regulate commerce of the foreign nations that says that it's in the field of the parties of the affairs entitled to re-evaluation rates of interpretation no doubt class and no one advocate the U.S. doing development only exposure has stats which doesn't expose the USFG has to actively have these assets and no substantive evidence to next make out of the USFG ground loss care massive international trade which only occur with the ocean lakes policies and development case and if there's no current reasonability good enough to potentially slowly provide a sufficient number of evidence to prove that our arbitration is both okay. We get to wait, okay, Bruce, what is he looking at? Five hours in small with the mega implementation education laws, the way the case is key, just the alternative the case free works and every alternative paradigms and every showing the resolution project, weighing ethics, weighing impacts not ethics, the entire free trade advantages and disadvantages, and you'll look okay, this shows that economic independence is necessary, currently both, and the alternative is neoliberal, not exporting a gas, just massive money to use manufacturers to use, so they can use gas. I'm not going to do this with a card state. Permanently both no mutual exclusivity, the act doesn't lead to politics anyway, conditionality, illegitimate, investigation, conspiracy, science, trying to decrease in-depth education, and false argument, responsibility, contradiction, uniquely reason to USC, sports, logical argumentation, invalid reason for checking or counter-interpretation, figure out conditionality, double-minded, the government doesn't solve the WTO to eventually states are received, or if we know about the means of counterblend, linked to politics, and it's absolutely results in the text that they should petition for the application. Remember, the plan text is applications and terminals. Only the Department of Energy has the ability to approve the applications for LNG exports. Now, in reveal the terminals, you're not legally allowed to export any LNG from them because the Department of Energy controls that. In the Congress has sole authority to regulate foreign commerce explicitly. The Constitution that's American law for you. In 6, Supreme Court President points to the conclusion of foreign commerce laws is the interstate commerce laws, the connection to state policies, the direct interstate commerce commission, notice like jurisdiction involving foreign commerce courts of an unwavering Congress by regulating commission never struck down the act of Congress. That is never struck down an act of Congress. This had. No one complains about the Congress that's the leave our recent LNG export approvals non-unique. No one in Congress cares cutting him and 17 non the DOE approved more export terminals and LNG to be limited and use the Walmart research connections to leave little more LNG products to receive more approval and bipartisan support for LNG exports. That's Germany 14, even Washington support LNG both bipartisan bicameral and the newspaper across country but legal should read and the choice of Congress president to speed up the process and do by the high substantial bipartisan support Congress for exports Ross in 13 site leadership organizations substantial bipartisan support Congress exporting LNG more than 100 members 1,000% signed bipartisan senator tenures legislation not of Europe for export Montenegro laws humanity deaths laws enemies no PC for Obama and Abstention is destroyed least in 826 of Obama if the Democrats will send to the ballot over the president will have no political capital of the Louis votes Democrats in general looking at no vote switching no reason Congress will switch their vote improving all application facilities necessary to ensure long-term energy cooperation U.S. ventilation calls 13 U.S. LNG spots stable and affordable and ensure the tightest economic energy to violation U.S. and records James again Jordan spots should the U.S. and Louis for energy U.S. relation by the national security check out long-term energy security critical new mention as an added U.S. LNG exports full of all aspects of the lines that are critical to maintain independence strategic part of sole compensation I-230 increase of LNG exports U.S. to Japan strengthening lines necessary LNG internally change to development and LNG will wait on Japan and also likely the Virginia starting the Asia-Pacific Community one British ship was increased about for defense in the U.S. Japan alliance to war with Taiwan to determine the 2.5 Washington territory to preserve alliance with the phone of the Chinese also east gets forced out of the alliance to at 8 U.S. all the Christian Taiwan straight to Korean police but listed as Jewish and all of the U.S. Japanese so he goes to Japanese Taiwan to expanded the U.S. versus the realities of Taiwan requires so to be able to deal with the U.S. and the lower military case on today's economic independence.
Okay, we're going to take some time before that.
Not a lot of warrants, but I think it counts.
On your new add-on, what piece of evidence do you have that the U.S.-Japan relationship over LNG is low?
Right now, the evidence is pretty good on this question. The 2AC.
Yeah, it says they like provide stable and affordable energy resources.
The column 13 evidence says that LNG is necessary for the alliance because during times of crisis, you're going to ally with the people who are providing your energy, who are powering your homes. So even if we have a pro forma alliance with Japan, we're like, yeah, we're buddies. But when that comes down, when push comes to shove, it's not going to be a strong alliance.
Okay, let's look at your next piece of evidence, the ITAC evidence. It talks about increases may strengthen, but what piece, like, you still don't have a piece of evidence that says that they're low now or that it's like reverse cost.
Okay. One, all of the evidence is speaking to the fact that the Japanese-U.S. alliance, since the Fukushima disaster,
So this is just
Japan.
your spin on it. Okay.
No, it's not my spin. Do you want the answer or not?
No, it's okay.
Okay.
On T, your first interpretation of Japanese Institute Navigation Grid, it talks about the utilization of ocean resources and ocean space. How do you actually, like, what about the oil that you're getting is from the ocean?
Nothing is from the ocean, but we increase a massive international trade over the ocean, which is an increase in the use of ocean space.
So you're talking about the effect of your plan, the private sector ships that are like traveling over the plan, that's why you need ocean space?
Yes, in the same way that if you were to permit for drilling, that would be resource extraction, you would allow a private company to drill from a federal land, the same way that you need a private federal approval to be able to export LNG. It's increase in trade over the ocean, use of ocean spaces.
Okay, you read this oceans as plural definition, what was that for?
It just says that you need to have a wider interpretation of the topic because oceans is plural means you have to develop multiple oceans.
Okay,
So
how does the
trade
plan
goals-
develop multiple oceans?
Atlantic
Is this
Pacific.
because of the effects to you that you have ships that are like multiple?
That's not effectually topical. If you're not going to since it means, okay, yes, we use multiple oceans, more ships in Atlantic,
Is this because
Pacific,
you have exports
India.
on different oceans? Is
Yes.
that why? Okay. Where are the exports? Or where are the export terminals?
Around the world. I mean, around the coasts.
Okay. On TITS.
Around the world.
Okay, this Callaway evidence is talking about federal action can begin with prior approval. What does prior approval mean?
It means they need the Department of Energy's approval to export the LNG itself, and they need the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission's approval. to
Doesn't
build
that
terminals.
justify just like a court changing a tiny statute and then like is
No more so than it justifies the Department of Energy giving a lease to drill on offshore oil. I mean, the
So,
development that happens
the
because of the plan-
affirmatives that are allowed under your interpretation don't ever have to actually go to the ocean, correct?
Yes, they do.
Why?
Massive international trade over the ocean. We give permits for ocean development. We give
Why are
permits for the
ships
use of
in the
ocean space.
ocean?
Why are ships in the ocean? Because they float.
Okay. Okay, we're gonna start back. 7:42.
Of backwards policy and trying and W2 can attract those who share have no interest in liberalization of W2 that limited solid diversity competition could be worse than no W2 at all. Not all other impacts are empirically denied by 30 years of research and working. 13 current research spread to a far greater extent than any previous one did. Covered all the conscious and contribution versus process to not show any signs of finding more than 150 in force now. Now they say we there's no global RTAs with things like ethnicities, but the collapse of the multilateral trading system is the only thing that can ensure that RTAs are widespread. There's a zero sum link because law of faith and multilateral trade causes shift to regional agreements. Benini and Kumari dissolution may be one reason for the proliferation of regional agreement. There could be more easily managed between regional areas. On WTO collateral is uniquely key to the cause of shift to RTAs GANs. Competitions don't appear, but no major negotiations take place at WTO. The rate of expansion and deepening of RTAs and negotiations between ones any further expansion for will be driven by the RTAs. Also, their pension back evidence concedes the only thing that's going to be able to solve for WTO collapse is if the U.S. gets off the table. The AFA concludes that means that they link that. Also, we saw for the ethnicities argument because in a world of RTAs, that means the countries are going to be more incentivized to trade with each other because they're going to be incentivized to trade with people who are geographically closer to them. That independently solves for conflict better because it means that countries who are closer to each other who would usually go to war with each other are incentivized to resolve their conflict more easily because they know that they're interdependent with each other. Their interdependence argument is that their impact even doesn't assume for a world doesn't assume for the fact that countries in a world of multilateral agreements can just shift to other countries means they don't actually solve for any of their interdependence arguments because there's no real interdependence interdependent countries will just shift to other countries next. Next go to the CITES, go to the extent of the impact. Turn space. Now go to the CITES. The CITES decide always in turn space is uniquely created food security and collapse ocean biodiversity. That's the biggest. In fact, it also turns trade because lack of food security is uniquely leads to increased wars boots any possible benefit of trade. Also boosted by the Asian regionalism. Decide the failed states also turn because it means that there's no economic benefit. They only have the impact even here. They haven't protested any of the Olympics. I win 100% risk. Also, WTO has developed a deterrence developing countries participating in MEA's moment, particularly realizing increased not only safety countries that the MEA is meaningful result that, and besides that, integrating lesser developed countries, we found strong evidence for chilling effect developing countries that requires engaging serious trade liberalization, new extends remove trade barriers, integrating less developed countries will, and pay for opportunity to international environment issues that proves that we spill over to global cooperation with MEAs. They haven't. The only impediment that they have here is about not being able to humans being able to solve this. Is not in the context. It's not in the context of environment. It's not in the context of water, which is all their impact you can assume. This is about biodiversity. Even if the oceans are resilient, it doesn't account for things like an increase in our predictive internal link, which says that if we don't do CITES, that's going to collapse biodiversity because CITES is uniquely key to be able to solve because it's next to the environmental collapse and extinction stow it to rapid species those prevents fundamentally long-term plan to survive the primary threat to trade body parasites is primary global regulatory mechanism. The convention parasites to increase their border monitoring activities promote public awareness and reputation revealed effective habitat preservation. It's uniquely key. The effective is just a snapshot of the status quo. Doesn't assume our internal link. They say humans can adapt. That's relevant because it's not in the context of humans. It's in the context of the environment now. Go to biosafety decide current extinction risk the most severe virus or not a knowledge need to engineer virus is not an exponential effect on it has an exponential effect on populations. Also turns trade because countries adopt measures in the world to virus or don't they don't want to risk a spread. Also turns Iran because it means that it leads to increased conflict in countries like Iran now. WTO implementation of bioterror is going to be able to solve the Sunshine Project. 3 shutdown between the U.S. and countries that export demonstrates how much to limit biological threats, conflict WTO, biological mandates FDA developers register, companies exported food to the U.S. Required tracking measures enable the FDA to retain food and imports in the draft FTRs and regulate the front of all of the WTO companies of rubber pharmacies leads to lead to collapse. They say that it's a critical part that they say that it's critical that they're critical with that it's solved by the affirmative, but that it's not going to be able to solve because it leads to perfections. There's only going to increase the risk of conflict. Also doesn't solve bioterror. The only impact against what they have here is in the context of economic interdependence, being able to check. But I did that work about. They say weather blocks are going to be able to check, but there is a high risk of bioweapons. Biotech makers make it cheap and publicly available hassle. And go to 12. This thing though makes the techniques that we're moving to constructing the working interactions biology are more troublesome access to techniques would constructing packaging virus are engineering much deadly original wood and synthesis just taking between bioweaponry, biorequirement shares and versus with every other information 2000 saw on cardboard predatory reverse engineering related which really causes uniquely many uses quickly follow treatment once a block market soon appears terrorist will show the trend to synthetic biology a terrorist sponsor of the UGM strike would most likely pathological Iran and Korean Pakistan will almost certainly be hiring. There's a high risk of bioterror attacks now. Glassman 12 shared off in the condo said bioterror not nuclear options the greatest fear though nations not have adequate bioresponse includes me fundamental characteristics of bioweapons that can come before a minister from an individual with no background and no classified info we're able to produce significant high weapons, technical weaponized and first major impediments to bioweapons so bioweapons so numbers to connect with terrorists will getting a pathogens no.
Okay.
We'll get correct before the
5 seconds.
How much did you have prior to taking that?
445, so 140.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Stand up. What does trade look like for the past 30 years?
For the past 30 years, so right now we have the trade system that's actually slowing down.
So for the past 30 years, we've had a multilateral WTO structured free trade system.
We've had a combination. So I don't understand what you're.
I'm just asking. For the past 30 years, could you agree that we've had a multilateral WTO type trade system?
I think that when the U.S. has been a leader, that
which it has been for the past 30 years. Do we both agree to that?
If the U.S. is a leader, then I don't understand why the status quo doesn't solve the act.
Okay, well, that's the uniqueness claim of our affirmative. But the question here is how do you lead to conflict? How does multilateral trade lead to conflict?
Multilateral trade leads to conflict because it means that countries aren't incentivized to work through conflicts. So
if they were to stop trading with each other because of a conflict, wouldn't that be a disincentive to attack?
No, there's no actual interdependence that goes on because countries know that they can just ship to other countries when they get into a conflict.
But wouldn't they get locked out of the multilateral trading system? Like, if Iran just started nuking people, nobody would trade with them, not just, the people they nuked.
If your argument is that embargoes are good, then I don't understand why you're saying that free trade is good.
No, I'm just saying that if somebody were to attack another person in the WTO, another country in the WTO, wouldn't everyone stop trading with them, essentially?
Yeah, but that's not what RTAs do.
Right. So RTAs, okay.
RTAs incentivize conflict resolution because it means that people are forced to trade with each other in their geographic proximity.
In their geographical area, but that doesn't answer the argument. So, for instance, ISIS is in the geographical area of the Middle East. They don't like the West. Don't they no longer have an economic disincentive to attack the West because they're not trading with them?
No, because they never had an incentive in the first place. They were just forced to trade with them by the WTO.
Well, they don't have an incentive to attack the West. They want to.
I don't understand your question.
Okay, the question being that if they no longer have anything to lose, if their economies no longer have anything to lose by attacking Europe.
Yeah, that's the argument that we're making, is that RTAs are the only way to solve that. Because
so what regions?
Iran knows that if they attack the US, they can just shift to another country to do trade.
Regional trade agreements.
Regional trade agreements mean
which
that
ones?
Countries... What do you mean,
what blocks form?
What blocks?
Name some regional trade agreements that fill in.
The TTP.
The TPP?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you name another one? I mean, that just has to do with
the
Europe,
example
the US,
of
and
GATT
Asia.
also.
Okay,
proven by things like Latin America and the EU.
Who does Iran trade with?
Countries in its proximity, which also decreases
So
the chance
Iran
of
only
Middle
trades
Eastern
with
war.
country in its proximity.
Yeah, that solves
Who does
the
China
problem.
trade with?
China, I don't have an exact list of countries.
Who does South America trade with?
South America is already doing the RTA system.
So they only trade with each other.
South America can also trade with the U.S. RTAs don't preclude
But
that.
a regional trade agreement would mean they would only have free trade with each other.
No, it doesn't preclude trade with other countries. It just means that they'd have to work through conflicts because they're not forced to trade with each other by things like the WTO.
Okay, but they're not trading at all with people outside the regional trading bloc.
That's not in our evidence. I don't understand why you're making that conclusion.
It's Seth. Can I quickly run to the restroom?
Yeah. We'll put some ready. Dino's Song of Survival.
I will have it again.
Pretty good. I'm on a different page than you are. I'm on this page.
Yeah, right. Angel has that watch list. I mean,
We're still in the same old field. It's actually like
he ran into Jackie Massey like a year ago at a anti-nuclear rally. And Jackie Massey's like, hey, you're used to your village. You guys are all right. So I'm at the GSU.
it's honestly a great recruiting place for Massey.
Yeah, right. It's like a sunset.
There's something groovy about it. I mean, I'm not saying it's good, but it's catchy.
We haven't heard his verse yet.
Right, that's not right either. Nice. No, he's coming. Skip like 20 seconds. Yeah. It's better than Brandon.
Wow. Low bar.
Okay, I'm bored.
To be fair, you didn't know where an FC was previous to 30 seconds ago, so I can see why. Sure. That'll work.
Finishing tournaments. Give all the trophies. Yeah, that's it. That's true. Likely just had their own budget because trophies are so expensive.
And the order is the second advantage to Iran, T the K. Actually, you can put K in front above the T. So Iran can.
I guess, yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to like jab at anyone, but it's like y'all. Yeah.
Yeah, and he doesn't like anything.
I bet that's what this is.
I have this personal stuff.
I can order one time. Sorry.
Yeah, Iran, KT.
Cool.
We're good. Except that there's no impact to Iranian proliferation because security estimates are overblown or extended payments. 218 evidence that says Israeli intelligence official downgrade Iran's ability to build a nuclear bomb. Iran will not have its first nuclear device before 2015 or 2016. Iran's probability program has suffered. Iran probably will increase aggression. Pillar told Iran that the bomb would not be dangerous. Iranian leaders that history demonstrate that Islamic revolution concerned with preserving the regime and their power. They are moral and not more likely to theologically imperative leads of self-destructive behavior. Nowhere is there any explanation to Iran's complications which would change a nuclear weapon. There be some specific aggressive act that I can responsible in order for Iran to neutralize the threat of retaliation for opponents of war with Iran would have been able to provide an example of the scary impact is Iran possession of a bomb in alarmist wisdom and nukes don't increase Iranian aggression. Neither 13 Iranian nuclear would not be more aggressive. Nuclear bomb would not be used to sponsor Iranian average spread as simple as Iraq. Nevertheless, that Islamic republics is also different. The nuclear Iran would be economically dependent on the global Arab states as inevitably to run the regional order is limited and will do so even if it takes nuclear weapons onto the region. Can see the permutation not going for it. There's also a voting of being alternative. Reject the team, reject the Iran, not the team. That's not a voting issue onto topicality. They screwed up this entire thing. They dropped the shoreline interpretation of the 218, which means there's no game over for the affirmative. This is uniquely key because they don't mean this is uniquely key because it means that they're extra topical because they shoreline is not within the actual ocean. This is key to predictability and limit that way. That's key to writing education as the neck is a structural disseminate act that's a bit of prep time in the first and last speech. Predictability ensures we debate over merits of ocean policy rather than the hyper-generic don't self-regulations caused by faulty regulation. True to education when students learn about oceans in the classroom they do it through four directions so they have to be extras. Their debate leads to incomplete enough so they can never help in the long run. Limits are key to creativity. Working within limits leads to innovation. That means better debates can because we know what we're talking about and it eliminates tunnel vision, predictably ground, incentivizes good research skills which is portable and it's good effectively to research in school and professions. Decisions or inevitable ground ensures we get something from being forced to interact with specific topics and positions for beyond Jerks is preferable. Limited time frame to access unique positions like oceans, big agency, counterplans, and commercial versus events makes the activity more educational when they don't default spending to say DA international counterplans and policy counterplans everywhere they messes up. The only argument that they even get close to answering is that oceans are plural, but that doesn't answer that they're not actually within the ocean, which means that they dropped like center shoreline evidence that says that that top block maybe that must be in the shore on the shore can't be on the shoreline. They have to be actually within the ocean. Otherwise, it would justify any kind of city development, have infrastructure development become topical, which means that tourism has to become topical. Building levies in New Orleans to become topical. Beaches have to become topical. Any kind of cleanup thing, a cruise ship, building a bridge resiliency, and any kind of just building, making a building on the side of the ocean, on the beaches, now becomes topical. I'm sure their interpretation is effects is uniquely key because it means that they just able to say kind of disabled. They don't even defend drilling, which means that we lose all energy space and we lose all consumption, which means that that's the best education for both sides because that has the best quality literature, which means that takes up their overwhelming arguments. They don't actually gain access to it because they don't defend it, which means that they can just, and also it's worse for education because it means that they can just roll back the transportation infrastructure topic because anything could just be in the coach maybe ports after topical, which just literally to a redundant form of education, which is not critical. They don't, there's a no new one year argument. They didn't answer this object permits the subculture, that's something up the ocean, means the development must be up the ocean, not just in or on the ocean. Oxford tree, no data object, getting the material substance, consuming something, also filled with bricks and the bits, okay. An ocean is water between contiguous zones, saturated code proves CWE 12 the term oceans means high, things beyond the TQ zone, which means we're the best internally to precision on this impact because we're able to CWE is about the Clean Water Act, which is explicitly defining, they might try to make a new argument and they'll want to hear about how they mean because their courts and their terminals will violate the shoreline interpretation because they don't actually, they say competing interpretations. They didn't agree to competing interpretation, which means that's the best sailing because based off the interpretation that wins a nugget long for fate is a quadruple division of the ground on the top of the net. Shop politics and springs off the resource extraction. Anything might say reasonably doesn't happen. Things that didn't happen in the debate recently is bad model for debate. Okay. None of their, we're not going for T, it's a resource extraction. None of those arguments can be cross-applied because they still don't mean that they don't meet the ocean initially.
I will say, Christine, he's lost the sniper. In some ways, he's done something that I don't think he has ever done before. That he's like multiple consecutive eliminations. Each negative, against 2 acts, win completely analytically. Every single time. I don't think there's that right.
Often in music.
Mostly doesn't run a card on here. No, they don't. They don't read cards either. I mean, they don't like. They don't like. You know, really if you're like, what? No, it's somebody acts. Right. But I just buy it. It's like, you know.
It's old news. She's been doing that for a long time now. Like,
well, we knew how bit of a Harvard 1 year. It was a while ago. But the other guy from that we had like go we got it. Yeah.
well, that was 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Because we made them on the empty topic, floor spins, and they were like, no. And then they dropped. So we were like, sorry.
Things about ocean blues, the use of ocean spaces, which are textual evidence of the Cape Cod Times actually means, because it specifically talks about how the issuing permit is ocean development, which we would meet the entirety, we would meet the entirety as they conceded. Too many of the we claims rather them to actually go further slow. They say Carlos, but not far. It's not our fault. They don't read our plain text and actually see. It goes through the DOE. No, it's not the politics. Link is an actually an abuse scenario. They say not within the ocean, but the ships actually float on the ocean. It was pretty embarrassing on the cross section. Asking that question, they say that will offer tours of beaches and inside building on site. But once again, as long as we meet that we are shipping, which are completely conceded, which means that we meet the entirety, as they say, that FXC, but functionally all development is FX because of the permits and because of permits and all drilling. What?
They have to build the stuff.
Yeah, they actually have to build the stuff on land before they go over there. Functionally, everything would be FX in a way. The only other thing they say is ocean has to be on the water in the high seas, but our cars, the trade would be the only kind of development that actually be on the high seas, which means we would need at least also to the extent reasonability good as not. They had a bunch of evidence. It's very predictable. There was case negative. It was on camp. It was camps. Convenient interpretation cause a race to the bottom that destroys substance debate onto politics. I'm going to extend the add-on right here. The add-on right here extend the Cunningham evidence as a recent analogy. Extend the Collins evidence that says approve the all application of the key to ensure the long-term energy cooperation, because in times of war you will side with whoever is giving you the actual energy, and Japan will actually help to solve all conflicts in Asia. That's our IDO. And 13 evidence specifically talks about LNG solves all conflicts in Ally because of the actual alliance is premise upon energy security, and LNG is specifically needed now after post-Fukushima disaster, and also extend that we solve all Taiwan war, which if anything you can weigh against any other offense on Iran. They do too little work on the Iran proliferation. They say no risk of proliferation because they won't have it before 2015. But 2015 is pretty damn close, and even if they don't win that, they also concede the argument my partner made that even if they don't get the bomb, it's just a perception of actually getting the bomb that will increase these actual tensions, which would risk the actual extinction only by decreasing the price and exporting and getting Iran out of the market, making the uniqueness evidence gets less and less reason every time they read more cards. Or outright evidence is actually on the question that sanctions are failing best on the best analysis on the brink of the nuclearization. They are enriching uranium to even higher levels of potency and have failed to bring their nuclear program into compliance, which means that extinction is still a viable option. Only exporting LNG can lock Iran in the market, and the regional influence would solve the entirety of the major now onto trade flow. major disattlement trade flows. Salem 13 evidence indicates that the spaghetti bowl effective regional trade agreements that when inserting causes protections, which the Panzer evidence does a great job actually impacting, causes resource nationalism, causes countries to invade and makes war a no risk option, and also turn the TPP ensures exemptions and exclusions that drive a wedge of protectionism down the Pacific that drives on level. Consequently, the TPP, though, which is open in a way and enslaved to the probable outcome of quick agreement with exceptions and exclusion will mean future members will have to be negotiated separately with each member. It will leave the power wheel to economic and local power, and whatever reason there will be liberalization of sensitive markets, and certainly none given by the United States on process sectors. From the electors will drive a wedge down the middle Pacific, not only economically but politically. The United States and partners in China would re-entrench the political psychology developing the U.S.-China relations in a way that would be very difficult to unravel a long time, which means there's high probability for U.S.-China war straws in Russia and other countries, and also extend the fact that the free trade agreements wouldn't be global, and that the regionally blocking global tensions would actually just increase them across by the Panzer evidence right here, which they completely conceded. Also, they concede the manufacturing, that says manufacturing, the manufacturing class, the absent protectionism, because other countries will keep up key natural resources that are key to produce all these things, and then they kill 12% of the economy, or else unlock when evidence diversifies versionary because rally around the flag that makes countries go to war. This outweighs alone, and also the already of the free trade. What they say, they have this out of the case turns, the case turns the entire dissent. They say no food equals no trade. But when you think about it logically, you need to be able to trade. You actually get the food of other countries, which means we return the entire. They say what?
Biodiversity.
They say biodiversity extend the Kennedy evidence empirics prove that systems are resilient multilateral keystones died in passing, and there has been extinction after control machines. There's no apparently to this. They say that trade turns around, but there's no war for this. Also, the APA with time frame probability, even if they win, risk of biody, they probably win. Right now they conceded. The arms control evidence has tons of steps in the process to get the weapon and actually deployed, etc. The biody also conceded retaliation. No retaliation means no escalate to war. Countries won't go with violence terror. Yep.
You sent those cards out. You have them read.
I already did, yeah.
problem with games is that it kind of was like you were talking about this. You should put it in games. Now with the dead people born before 2018, that's probably that's what it's right.
What? I think Gold thinks they're doing that, flying to half the tournament.
What? But Massive Pages was like. But actually, I don't know if that's probably not.
Okay, it'll be topical.
Awesome.
Is everyone ready?
No, wait one time.
Yeah, I can. Okay, everyone ready? You are going to vote no top pad because we're winning on both tech and true. First of all, there's a bright line effect to this. This happens to reverse T because they only mandate land. If you look at the plan text, it only says that they will permit for they increase permits. The 1AC wouldn't even be able to from the 1AC wouldn't be able to know that this was this was an app on the ocean topic. It only approves pending application. They never mandate anything happens on the oceans. If anything, the only argument they have going for them here is about the shipping on the high seas that they don't even mandate. That means that there's no risk of their offense here. There's no way that they're going to be able to meet because the 1 AR was a little too late on this. Even if they result in shipping, there's no reason why trade has to occur through the ocean. It could also happen through things like airplanes. Proves that they don't mandate. They don't solve for this. Also, they've conceded all of the on top cost. Proves that we win a link to the fact that limits are good. They've conceded. They don't have any defense on our impact case coming out of the one. And our proves that you vote neg on this. Even if they define a development of ocean spaces, they don't meet oceans. Proves that they're not going to be able to solve for any of our offense because we've defined oceans as excluding the contiguous zone, which is excluding the shoreline. They might go for a we meet in the trailer about beating ports, but they still don't solve this because they don't mandate any of the ports. You should look at the plan text and you should look at the plan text that they're not going to be able to solve for any of our offense because they never mandate they're going to result in any of these and any of these different oceanic developments. It proves that they're not going to be able to solve for ocean problems. They don't ever have to be in the ocean. There's no defense for limits predictability. The topograph have to be up there because otherwise they could lead to terrible apps like things like any city development, any infrastructure development, any kind of bridge that could be possibly crossing a port. Any tourism means they've also conceded the redundant education impact here, which is that we only run back the TI topic, which is not educational checks back for any of their education claims. There's no new education that we get from running this off now. Even if they define ocean problems, they never result in the ocean. That was about they misunderstand the T violation. It's not about them having to be out of the show. It's not about them having to be out of the show. It's about them. It's about them having to be in the ocean, which they still don't meet. That the Oxford Dictionary indicates that they haven't conceded. They haven't extended their of definition means they can't. Don't give them any weight on this in the 2 yard. Also, they conceded the 1 and C definition, which means that the app has to be out of the shoreline. The Davidson is a professor of law at the University of Baltimore. It's also talking about things in the context of things like the territorial contiguous zone. It's for U.S. It's most consistent with the topic used by U.S. legal speak, and it's consistent with with the law of ocean problem proves that you should prefer it there. Don't have one piece of evidence that says that they would be in the ocean. Proves that you should auto vote now. You should default to competing interpretations because reasonably it doesn't account for things that didn't happen this week. This week was a stacked because we knew we wouldn't be able to read things that because we knew that certain things wouldn't compete. They've also precluded us from reading things like the online kind of code because we knew that they would just permit. We also don't have any warrants as to why reasonability is a good model for we prefer the 1 and our warrants and knowledge because that doesn't account for things. Also, there's a judge intervention means that it nullifies any impact position. Also, predictability and limits are going to outweigh any kind of education argument they go for in the 2 AR because it's keep providing education because the neg is already at a structural disadvantage because the predictability ensures we get the merits of ocean policy rather than hyper generics. They don't resolve things like scenarios about faulty regulations. Also key to education because when students learn about oceans in the classroom, they do it on core generics so that they can become experts on small areas of it rather than just the broad ideas. Therefore, debate leads to incomplete knowledge that's never going to be able to help us in the long run. Limits are also key to predictability because it means that we actually understand what we're talking about. It also means that it's better debates because it leads to innovation with different apps. Also eliminates tunnel vision. Decisions are inevitable, but learning about equitable ground means that we gain something forced to interact with specific topics. They've also conceded the ground loss. The only argument they have here is that we should have read the plan text about the DOE and the politics link, but it's not just about the politics. We any kind of link predicated off of ocean development because they don't actually do ocean development. Any kind of link would have had to be taken from the
all offshore effects.
They say all acts are effective, but they don't answer the specific acts that we get, the specific acts that we gave, like OTAG and DSAL, which would have to be mandated in the ocean. There's several acts that we'd be able to sell which are in the ocean, and they wouldn't have to have anything on the shoreline, even if there is some aspect of them on the shoreline. There's no part of this act which mandates that they would have to go in the ocean, which is the key differential that they haven't answered. The 1AR was too little, too late. They say counterfactually to they say competing interest to race the bottom, but it's key. It's key to contextualize the future of this topic. It's also key to be able to solve for a future. It's key to solve for. They didn't read a competing interpretation because so I don't know how they could even go for this argument. No answer to interpretation. They don't have a definition of the ocean means we vote nay.
40 seconds. Start. Drop all of our assumptions.
The one in ours made the baffling decision of sending the only interpretation of this of oceans that we unequivocally need. Now, the oceans of the use of ocean space, we are the only ones who found ocean development in this context. Japanese Institute of Navigation in 98 says the ocean development is the use of ocean space in words of phrases. In words of phrase 72 says of equals associated with one. We are associated with the ocean because the development can only occur on the ocean. That is the DOE in 14 evidence that says the LNG is exclusively for ocean development. Now, this is not an its violation because they dropped that in the one hour screens. But the only thing we have to prove is that the plan text is ocean development. The plan text results in ocean development. There's basically, look at the plan text in the vacuum. Now, there are two important words in the plan text. The first was pending. Pending means that there are applications that are already waiting to be approved. That means immediately upon the plan's approval, then there is ocean development happens. More ships go out. More ocean space is used. Now, their ocean interpretation gets them absolutely nothing in this debate because the argument we are going for is that the shipping is the use of ocean space. Now, we would obviously ship past the contiguous zone, which means we would be on the high seas, which means we meet that interpretation. Now, they say that we don't mandate anything, but one, they drop argument that no development case mandates anything at all because development happens through permits. Now, the Cape Cod Times evidence in 14 is specific to LNG, or Cape Cod Times in 4 is contextual evidence that is specific to LNG that says LNG is ocean development, which proves our reasonability claims that we at least have contextual evidence in the broader form of ocean literature are the only ones who are able to define what ocean development looks like and what that means in the context of, and what that means in the context. Now, also, the massive over-limiting discount is not responded to at all. That all development cases are actually topical because there are portions of the gates that have to happen on land. You would have to build the drilling platform on the land. You would always determine that the terminals would have to be, or the terminals are necessary preconditions. So the extropicality gets them absolutely nothing because they have to be some portion of development that happens on land to enable the development to happen on the ocean because we don't have ocean cities. Now, she says that the LNG can be flown on planes. That is one, blatantly ridiculous. You can't fly LNG on planes. And two, the terminals don't service planes. They only service boats. So even if you could fly LNG on, even if you could fly LNG on planes, our affirmative does not do that. They say that they exclude the shoreline, but the shoreline is necessary to enable that development to happen. You cannot export without the terminals, but the ocean shipping is directly mandated in the plan. The second word of the plan text in vacuum is applications, because applications for LNG exports, because applications are the exports themselves, not just the terminals. The terminals is a separate portion that is approved by the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, but the Department of Energy has to approve the application. Has to actually allow, even if you build the terminals on their own, you could not have any exports without the mandate of the plan, which is the approving of the applications to exports. Just like on any drilling app, you have to approve the permits to drill. You have to approve the permits for aquaculture. You have to approve the permits for any sort of any sort of development on top. You have to approve permits for OTEC because it's basically science fiction. Now they said that they say they couldn't read the onshoring counterplan, but one, I don't know why this helps them because it only proves that the affirmative is a unique form of ocean development that can only happen on the ocean. The DOE in 14 evidence says that LNG is exclusively ocean shipping. It is a massive form of ocean trade that can only happen on the ocean because you can't fly LNG in planes, which is exactly why we are germane to the topic. The fact that you couldn't run an onshoring counterplan just proves that we didn't take a transportation app and run it in the water. We took an app that can only happen on the affirmative. That answers back for all of their transportation infrastructure claims, and also you can cross-apply all of their topicality now. So why energy apps are good? Because energy apps are virtually impossible. Any type of conventional energy app, you couldn't do natural gas, you couldn't do oil drilling, you couldn't do aquaculture, you couldn't do any sort of energy app because there's no literature that has the United States federal government itself build the aquaculture, since they did not go for the TS violation. That is virtually an incoherent argument. That they say predictability and limits. Well, one, all of our you can extend the reasonability argument, which was not explicitly, you extend the reasonability argument from D1A, which is that as long as you have multiple definitions, considering we're the only ones who extend any definition in the context of LNG that proves that we are contextual, we are germane to the topic. We prefer our reasonability to not only do we have any evidence that is an intent to define the Japanese Institute of Navigation 98 evidence, excellent on Squid's intent to define legally the Cape Cod Tides evidence shows that in the common vernacular, when people think of ocean development, the first thing they think of is LNG exports because it is the biggest debate on this topic is what we should do with the domestic shale reserves that we have now. There is absolutely nothing that they say that we don't mandate. Again, the pending applications proves that we do mandate the plan because the plan could not happen without the plan could not happen without the United States federal government. And the ocean deferral argument is also completely dropped. The development would have to happen in multiple oceans. The development would have to happen in multiple oceans, which is you should prefer a more expanded interpretation of the topic because it allows for development to happen in multiple different oceans, whereas some forms of development would not. So you need to allow limiting in other senses. Literally, we need the entirety of the interpretation. They say that we don't answer their specific aspects. One, there are specific aspects to provide permits as well. And they have a massive over limiting this because you can't run any form of energy or energy resource extraction, any form of resource extraction. And we don't underlimit the topic. We just say that the topic has to have exclusively ocean shipping. That permits for LNG or ocean development. That does not underlimit the topic. They're not given an anti-case to prove what our interpretation does, other than saying that we can put stuff on land. But since the affirmative since our interpretation means the affirmative has to take place on the ocean, we don't link to any of their infrastructure stuff.